Good evening. This is the September meeting of the Open Space Committee. We are being videotaped, and we will start with the review of the minutes of July 22nd. That was our last meeting. And seeing that we have a quorum, does anybody have a question about the minutes? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes of the July 22nd meeting.
I so move.
Aye.
I need a second.
Oh, I say aye.
Please second.
I second it, I'm sorry.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. We have been requested to elect a vice chairperson to do what I'm doing tonight and filling in for Sue, who can't make it. Does anybody want to volunteer to be the vice chairperson?
I'm already the secretary, so I'll probably pass on that.
So, since we have two members absent, I'd like to table this to the next meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody opposed to that?
No.
All right. The questionnaire is the next item on the agenda, and I am far behind on coordinating everybody's input, but that's the only thing I have to do is tweak it a little bit. I've sent it off to a couple different news outlets.
Okay.
We can end up posting it on cable. The date for collecting all the survey responses has been moved to November 15th.
Okay.
So that way people get time to do them before Thanksgiving.
So the deadline for the questionnaire is gonna be November 15th?
Correct.
To submit it back to us?
Right, well, it's electronic,
Right.
so you can either use
just
the
to do
link
it.
that's in the press release, or I will send everybody the link as soon as it's finished. I'm not sure we can use the photograph, it might be too big, but anyway. And then you feel free to send it to anyone you know who uses Douglas Parks and Recreation, Open Space and Recreation. And then we'll get folks who, different ways to keep publicizing it and see if we can get a good number of responses.
Okay.
And then we said we'd also have copies here at the Municipal Center, at the library, and at the adult, what do we call it now? Social Center.
I heard a rumor that it's closing.
That's not on our agenda, so.
Oh. Okay.
So people can fill a paper copy out there and put it in the collection box, and then what's going to happen is that we will enter those responses into the electronic survey so that it automatically aggregates everything, and we can get responses, and we can see nice charts and figure out what exactly people are telling us in their use of our facilities and our open space.
Okay.
So it's a little behind schedule, but almost there.
Okay.
Any questions or anything? Okay. But just encourage friends and family to fill it out, and that would be great. The next thing on the agenda is the Kievan Conservation Area follow-up. This is the property on Southeast Main Street that was donated to the town. We understand there's supposed to be some signage, but that hasn't appeared yet, and I'm trying to do some follow-up on that. But I believe since our last meeting, Sue and I, we went out and we met with both the abutters, and we also met with the highway superintendent and the folks across the street, so that we took another look at that parking area as well as the path in. I think the neighbors have gotten their waivers and they are starting to work on clearing brush and things like that. But the boulder and the parking is still a difficult thing to deal with, because the boulder either has to be, I don't know, carved off, split, or something. So the suggestion was that we would do this in phases. So if people can access and, keep a path into that beautiful upland area in the back, so be it. But right now, there aren't the funds to be able to hire somebody to,
Blast the rock.
yeah, even getting equipment in from one side with the abutter the equipment would have to be huge
Oh.
to move it. So we'll figure something out, but it's not gonna be immediate. And then, there's also 1 or 2 trees near the street that would probably have to be taken down, as we noticed before. This isn't a priority because there are so many dead oaks in particular along the streets right now that there's very little, if anything, left in the tree removal budget. But we did start a new fiscal year, so. But anyway, that's basically the picture there. Figure out the signage and what kind of obligations the Conservation Commission said they would have with a donor, and then go from there.
Okay, so that's just kind of on hold for now.
Yeah, and we could develop a phased plan so that we could see some progress, or figure out a way to maybe get somebody who has more expertise with splitting rocks or something that would come in and basically donate their services. But the rock, that huge rock, takes up so much
Right.
of the path that is very narrow between the 2 properties. So, right now, we basically agree that this is a walking path in from the road.
Yeah.
And there'd be enough room for a car to pull off, to be able, to at least get off of Southeast Main Street, where people are speeding by for safety, safety reasons.
Okay.
So, that's that update. The next item on the agenda is school property trails. And unfortunately, it looks like Becky isn't gonna be able to make it, so we have no update on that at the moment. Unless one of you knows anything that's recently happened.
And I'm not aware.
Okay. Before we take new business, I'm gonna point out that Ellen just gave us the expenditure report for FY 2020. We have $100 to spend. Maybe there's a way to, I don't know, do something about assisting with signage or something at some particular place, but I think we have to do more research.
Yeah.
Well,
How much does like a sign cost? I mean.
Well, it's not just that, but it's conservation property, so it needs to look consistent with the other
Right.
properties.
So should we ask like Steve Zisk how much one of those signs is? Maybe like a new one somewhere?
Yeah, but it would come out of their budget.
Oh, okay.
I'm just trying to think of ways that $100 isn't much, so
Yeah.
what's the best way to assist with a project, or I don't know, if we had, I don't know.
Well, the rock blasting would probably be like a lot more than that.
Yep. Definitely.
Yeah, probably something small like postage, or like, if you have like a wooden post maybe to mark something, and flagging. That's probably like something we could afford to do.
Right, or sometimes a flyer to publicize something.
Oh, okay.
Maybe there would be that's partly conservation too. We have to find out what their plan is for that property and the signage. Because there's not a lot of room, and so if you put space for 2 cars, where's the sign, is the sign gonna face the road, where's the sign going?
Yeah. So we have to discuss this with conservation, so we should try to get on their agenda.
Yeah, or we can talk to Steve,
Oh, okay.
or, and Maria, and see if there's information that outlines what their obligations are before we pick a different course of action.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you need someone to like reach out to them?
I said I would do that, so
Okay.
I think we're all set on that. So is there any new business? Did you want to bring anything before the committee? Or did you see any parcel of property that we should explore?
I think we have enough business to focus on at the time.
Okay. So the next meeting would be October 21st.
Mhm.
So October 21st, let's see. So we're still looking at the third Wednesday.
Isn't it Monday?
I'm sorry, Monday. Yes.
I think so.
Third.
So I think tentatively the meeting will be October 21st, but if not, since November 15th is the deadline for the surveys, I mean, it's pretty easy to pull stuff together. So I'll suggest to Sue that our November meeting be the third Thursday, which is the 18th. And so if there's no new business, maybe we can skip the October meeting and just have the November meeting.
Okay. I imagine like once we do get the surveys, like should we kind of come together as a group similar to back in January? And I mean, if we had a lot of paper copies, it'd probably be pretty tedious for one person to like enter everything. So maybe we could split them up or something.
Yeah, we could decide that at the meeting even.
Okay.
But that's a good point.
You basically just enter the responses into the Google survey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so might as well just like split it up.
Yep.
Be easy to do.
I'm glad you're optimistically thinking we'll get these responses.
Oh.
It could take one of us about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
No.
We'll see. All right, so our next meeting is tentatively scheduled for the 21st of October, and then after that, the 18th of November. Remind people that Oktoberfest is the 5th, I believe, of October, which is
First
basically,
Saturday.
yeah, a street party, Main Street.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe we're still under a critical
Oh.
classification for triple E, so
I heard planes last night.
just be careful, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I heard they're coming tonight too, right?
Mhm.
So unless anybody has any further business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I so move.
I'll
Okay.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Excellent. Anyone opposed? So our meeting is concluded.